Okay, breaking news this morning. Operation Epic Fury is entering its most critical phase. Right now, American air power is locked in its biggest fight in a generation. We're talking about a massive, direct assault on the very heart of Iran's military. Explosions are rocking targets all across the country. But you know what? The real story is what's happening just out of sight.
4 weeks or less. Yeah, those were the words from the president this morning, promising a quick, decisive victory. But the most shocking part of this story isn't the explosions you're seeing on your screen. And you want to stay till the end because some pretty shocking things are going to be revealed here. The real story, the terrifying part, is what happens when the world's most powerful arsenal just runs empty. Okay, let's get back to the video and dive into this.
So, phase 1 of this operation was all about one thing: decapitation. The strategy wasn't to kind of slowly chip away at the enemy. No. The plan was to deliver a single, overwhelming thunderclap, designed to cripple Iran's ability to even wage war from the very first hour. The goal? To pull its most dangerous teeth before it even had a chance to bite back.
This whole initial assault stood on 3 main pillars. First up, neutralize the nuclear core. They used these specialized bombs, so-called massive ordnance penetrators, to hit the super-fortified nuclear sites at Fordow and Natanz. The Pentagon's assessment now is that these places have basically collapsed in on themselves. Second, seal the missile mountains. For years, Iran has been digging these huge underground cities to hide its ballistic missiles. Well, the US used a new combination of bunker-busting drones and cyber warfare to literally seal the exits, turning these fortresses into tombs for the weapons inside. And third, blind the command. The IRGC's communication network, it was one of the first things to go dark, and that just sowed total chaos and confusion.
Now, just to give you a sense of the scale here, this isn't just a few ships floating around. We're talking about the largest mobilization of American combat power since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Over 100,000 troops are in the area, backed up by advanced stealth bomber wings and a sensor-to-shooter network that honestly makes past wars look like ancient history. I mean, this is the very definition of awe.
But as you can imagine, this kind of overwhelming dominance, it comes at a staggering price. And in the shadow of all these spectacular victories, the first cracks in the whole operation are starting to show, and they're not just measured in dollars, but in human lives.
Today, CENTCOM confirmed the devastating news. 3 American service members have been killed in action. In a conflict this intense, these aren't just statistics, right? These are families that have been shattered, and they represent the ultimate sacrifice for this mission.
And then there's this mystery brewing out in the Kuwaiti desert. Reports are confirming that several US jets have crashed, all within hours of each other. The Pentagon is being really tight-lipped, which leaves 2 deeply worrying possibilities. Was it just mechanical failure from a brutal, non-stop operational pace, pushing these incredibly complex machines past their breaking point? Or, and this is the more chilling option, did a new Iranian electronic warfare weapon, or maybe their advanced S-400 air defense systems, somehow manage to reach out and fatally touch our most advanced aircraft? The answer to that question dramatically changes the math for that 4 weeks timeline.
All right, now we get to the most dangerous, and maybe the most critical part of this whole story. It's a crisis that isn't about strategy or bravery, but about simple mathematics. It's about the terrifying speed at which the American arsenal is just emptying out.
To really get this, we need to talk about a term you're probably going to hear a lot more about: magazine depth. Think of it like this. It's like the ammunition magazine in a rifle. It's the total number of bullets you have on hand versus how quickly you're firing them. The crisis hits when the rate of expenditure, how fast you're shooting, is way, way faster than your rate of production. When that happens, the magazine, and eventually the whole arsenal, runs empty.
Every single time Iran launches a drone or a cruise missile at a US base or a ship in the Gulf, the US fires back with its defensive shield. A huge part of that shield is the Patriot PAC-3 interceptor. Each one of those costs around $4 million for a single shot.
And you think that's bad? It gets so much more expensive. To stop the really dangerous, high-altitude ballistic missiles, the US Navy uses something called the SM-3 interceptor. Now, these things are technological marvels, right? They're capable of hitting a bullet with another bullet in space. But that capability comes at a jaw-dropping cost, anywhere from $10 to $25 million per shot. These aren't just munitions, they're basically financial silver bullets.
So this chart right here, this visualizes the absolute core of the crisis. This isn't just about money, it's about supply. The bar on the left, That shows the total number of those high-end SM-3 interceptors the US can even make in an entire year. The bar on the right, that's what's been used in just 1 week of Operation Epic Fury. We are burning through a year's worth of production in 7 days. If this keeps up, the shield that's protecting US forces is going to disappear.
And here's the thing. This crisis isn't happening in a vacuum. The shockwaves from this munitions drain are being felt all across the globe, and it's forcing the Pentagon into this impossible geopolitical balancing act. It's a classic case of robbing Peter to pay Paul.
The problem becomes crystal clear when you look at global demand. The exact same missiles being fired in huge numbers to defend against Iran, those Patriot PAC-3s, are the very same missiles that Taiwan is waiting on to defend itself from a potential Chinese invasion. They're also the same missiles that Ukraine is urgently begging for to protect its cities from Russian attacks. There is only one pool of these weapons, and you've got 3 critical hotspots all trying to drink from it at the same time.
You know, this isn't some new problem that just popped up. This is a crisis that was predicted, and now it's coming to a head. For years, strategic think tanks like the RAND Corporation have been warning that the United States was getting close to strategic insolvency. And that's just a fancy term for a state where your global security commitments, defending allies in Europe, the Middle East, the Pacific, are bigger than the military means you actually have. Operation Epic Fury didn't create this problem, but it has pushed it to a terrifying boiling point.
So this brings us all the way back to the president's 4 weeks or less timeline. And once you understand this magazine depth crisis, that statement sounds completely different. It's not just a declaration of confidence anymore, is it? It's a high-stakes gamble. It's a race to win the war before the arsenal runs dry.
And this gamble, it can really only go one of 2 ways. The shock and awe theory is that you hit the enemy with such overwhelming force that their will to fight just collapses before your own logistical problems kick in. Basically, you win before your limited supply of fancy, high-tech weapons runs out. But there's a flip side, the high-tech trap. In this scenario, the enemy weathers that initial storm and then deliberately uses cheap drones and simple missiles to bait you into firing your multi-million-dollar interceptors. They know they can't win a straight-up fight, so they aim to win a war of attrition by making you go bankrupt, both financially and materially.
And that leaves us with the central, unresolved question of this entire conflict. Is the 4 weeks timeline a brilliant, realistic military objective that's based on overwhelming American power, or is the United States being cleverly baited into a logistical nightmare, a high-tech trap that could leave it vulnerable not just in the Middle East, but all across the globe?
The events of the next few weeks are going to be absolutely decisive. So what do you think is the greater risk here? The enemy's strength or the limits of our own arsenal? Let us know what you're thinking in the comments. This is a story that's changing by the hour, so make sure you subscribe to this channel for the latest updates. And watch for the video coming up on your screen. Our next deep dive is on the B-21 Raiders' performance in this conflict. Thanks for watching.